The bad news, the world economy is collapsing. The good news is the best investment is cheaper than ever before. And the good news is everybody in the world can afford to buy some silver. And as I said in Rich Dad Poor Dad, came out 25 years ago, savers are losers. And these idiots are still saving money. And the Fed is printing it like crazy. The English pound almost went down. The Japanese yen is about to take a dive. China is in serious trouble because they have the biggest real estate bubble in the world. And and the Fed has been printing trillions of dollars, and people are still saving money. You've got to be crazy. Let me ask you this. So what do you like about silver? Because I know why I like it. I'll go into that.
There's a million things. I mean, I call it the perfect investment. Even back in like biblical times, they thought silver was magical. Silver can purify water. You put silver in milk, it keeps the milk fresh longer. You know, it responds to other metals like nothing else. You know, it's the most highly conductive metal for thermal conductivity, electricity, even light sensitivity. It's scarce, but it's more for me lately the industrial sector, not only the monetary like a lot of people focus on, but the industrial sector.
Right.
We need so much silver heading forwards. The Green New Deal just started. We exceeded 1.112 billion ounces this year alone. How many billions of ounces by the year 2030? But we can barely keep up with that demand already. I mean, solar panels increasing, electric vehicles by the year 2030, every automobile company. Where's that silver going to come from? We don't have enough. And I think for me, my stance is I think that's really what's going to take the price forwards is the lack of silver. But also including that with the monetary side of things, I mean, nothing else makes as much sense.
I was 17 years old in 1964, and I realized silver was it.
Yeah,
that's Gresham's law. Gresham's law is when bad money enters a system, good money goes into hiding, and the Federal Reserve Bank cannot print much more. I don't know if they can print much more. They want to try to. But everybody who's saving dollars is going to be the biggest loser of all. So that's why you and I speak about silver. I'll say it again. Everybody in the world can afford a $20 silver coin without the premium. So my question for you is this. Everybody wants to know, well, how much is it going to go to? But before I ask you that question, why is the price of silver suppressed?
Well, silver's a direct threat to the U.S. dollar. I mean, it's directly or negatively correlated, You know, when the dollar index is high, silver's low. What are you going to say?
Can I add something? When I'm so old, I used to pick up a dollar, U.S. dollar, a paper dollar. It had a silver certificate on it. You could redeem it for silver. Today it says Federal Reserve note.
Yeah.
You know what we say in the Marine Corps: bend over and pick up the soap in the shower. You know what I mean? You're getting screwed. The Federal Reserve is screwing you, but you're still trying to save that Federal Reserve note. But they already told you, and they broadcast it. There's no longer a silver certificate.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. To answer your question a little further, when you have your money, actual dollars, even stocks, you are basically, you know, a slave to the system. You know, they have power, control over you. When you're in debt, you're a slave to the system.
Right.
Anything pegged to the dollar, when it collapses, you're going down with it. It's like switching seats on the Titanic. As soon as you put that dollar into silver, you've taken the power away from them and put it into your own hands. They don't want that. You know, even cryptocurrency, decentralized Bitcoin, as soon as you buy crypto, you took the power away from them and you are in complete control of your wealth. They don't want that.
I became a silver bug in 1964.
Oh, wow. Right. Wow. Right.
Yeah. So you say I'm
That's
kind
funny.
of... And the reason I was 17 years old in 1964, I was holding up a dime, you know, and the dime had copper on it. I'm like, shit's going on here. And that I didn't know this at the time because I'm only 17 years old. You know, I'm a surfer kid, flunking out of high school and all this. I was looking at this dime going, and then I saw the quarter had copper around it. And then back then we had $50, and I saw this copper around it. I'm going, something's on here. But for the, it took me years to find out later on that I was looking at Gresham's law. And Gresham's law states when bad money enters the system, good money goes into hiding. So at 17 years old, I used to caddy, and I go and take golf clubs, carry golf clubs around, and I'd go to my bank, and I would buy silver dimes and quarters, not nickels. And then I'd look for all the ones with a copper on them, and I'd throw it back in the bag and take it back to the bank, but I kept all the silver coins. Again, that's Gresham's law. And the reason I like what you're saying, Mr. Silver Slayer, is that Gresham's law is in full force right now. Bad money is pumping into this system, and all these idiots, it's called financial stupidity, they're saving dollars. You gotta be kidding me. And they're printing so much money. And the beauty of silver, let me say it again, everybody in the world can afford $20, or you can afford a dime. You can go to a coin store and say, I'd like a 1963 dime. You might pay $1 for it. But that's how stupid people are. They don't realize that silver has not only been an industrial metal, but it's also a monetary metal. It's been used as, payments for years and years and years. So I was 17 years old and going to that. And it took me to 1972 when, after Nixon took the dollar off the gold standards, and now what's going on there. And if you read my books, I talk about flying. I was a Marine pilot in Vietnam. I flew behind enemy lines because the NVA, North Vietnamese Army, overran the position of the gold mine. But I was such a gold bug, I flew behind enemy lines and tried to negotiate gold at a better price. And back then, gold was it went from 35 to 50. And I write about it. I'm standing in front of this little woman, Vietnamese woman with red teeth because they chewed betel nuts. And my co-pilot and I, we're both college graduates. And I said, I'll take gold at a discount. She just looked at me. I said, it was 35 to 50. I thought maybe she'd sell it to me for 40. And with a little red teeth, she goes, spot. I said, what?
That's great.
Do I have a spot on my shirt or what? So here's this woman. I doubt she went to Harvard. I don't think she had an economics degree. But she was schooling two Americans who had no idea what spot meant. So what does spot mean to you, Mr. Slayer?
Spot price.
What does that mean to you?
Spot price is what the price of silver is. Actually, spot price is irrelevant. If you want to get real deep, spot price is irrelevant, but that's what the set price of silver is at any point throughout the day. But premiums nowadays kind of erase what spot price is.
You get in too deep on this thing. Because look, I'm a U.S. Marine. Marines aren't the brightest matches in the box. I just keep it simple. Spot is the price of that product all over the world. Mm-hmm. So that's why I've always recommended gold and silver, because it's universal. It's global money. Also, gold and silver are God's money. It wasn't printed by the Federal Reserve Bank or the Bank of England or the Bank of Tokyo. Gold and silver were put here by God. I'm not really religious, but they're on the periodic table of elements, I forget what's gold's something and silver 74 or something like that. So that's why I recommend gold and silver. But it took me to 1972, standing in front of this little Vietnamese woman in front of her gold. And that wasn't a gold mine, but she was the vendor for the mine. And she goes, spot. And I was doing my best to negotiate the thing down, because if she's behind enemy lines, I should get a discount. And she could give a shit. And that's when I became a gold bug and a silver bug. And so my prediction is, and predictions are they're just predictions. They don't mean anything. So don't believe a word I say. But I think silver is going to go to 100 to 500 by 2025. That's my guess. And it's wishful thinking and all this, but I also do it the same reason why they pump silver and all that, they dump silver and all this stuff. is to get, let's call it forward guidance, so either people get excited or they dump it. So do you have a prediction? Let's say we're 2025, which is 3 years from now.
It's funny because when I talk about triple digit silver, that's the exact year I say. I say 2025,
really?
2026. Yeah, and I say that because I feel like by then we'll be deep enough into the Green New Deal. By then we'll be deep enough to where big industry will realize they don't have enough. Right now, you and I know this. The listeners know this. But I feel like by then, how many billions of ounces will we need by then?
So wait. So what you're saying is the industrial use alone will drive up the price. And what I'm saying is the corruption price alone will drive the fake gold, fake silver is going to drive the price up. So one is a real reason and one is a corrupt reason.
Yes, that's insane to think about. We could go on just off yours alone and it would be a strong reason to buy silver. But to also add that factor in, what I was talking about, it's almost overwhelming. If someone else came up, let's say someone saw this interview for the first time that never heard about silver, and they heard this, if it didn't click for them, I don't know what will, or someone that's investing into stocks that hears about this. If they try to disregard it, that means it's either ego-driven, they have a biased opinion, they don't want to admit that maybe something else is better, or they're just silly because nothing makes as much sense.